Yo YouTube, what's going on? It's your boy SalvationsElite. We're back with another video, guys, and today, back at it again with the OpTic topics. Today we're talking about what's up with OpTic. I mean, the last two Pro League matches were not pretty. It was a rough go for both of them. Obviously, we're going to talk about the whole situation and like why that might be the case, why they were kind of getting dumped on these last two games, and how they're going to look moving forward. Or like, will they be able to play well at Miami is the biggest question on all the OpTic fans' minds. And I know a lot of OpTic fans are pretty worried about the play of the team these last two matches. And I actually do think there is some legitimacy to the worries that OpTic might have. So I think the best way to address it is to basically just start from the beginning. So obviously Vegas was very good for OpTic. They ended up winning the tournament. I think it's definitely valid to question OpTic's performances in the tournaments or in the open tournaments. When it comes to when they play against the best teams in the league or in the tournaments, they've been really struggling this year, obviously, since Vegas. And it's definitely been a problem for them. They've been playing perfectly fine in the Pro League up until basically these last two matches where they look terrible. But besides that, they've been playing pretty well overall, and even against the good teams they've been playing well. But let's just go back and look at their performances. So obviously at Vegas, they win the tournament. They play really well. So that's the first event of the year, right out of the gate. All of their players are extremely motivated to practice. No one knows the game that well. No one in the Pro League knows the game that well. So they're just all trying to get better at the game as a whole. And that's generally at the beginning of the games when talent can show and talent can win. Or if a team figures out the game sooner than everybody else, then they can win. So that's the biggest thing. Just like TK in World War II, they figured out the game before everybody else did and they dominated. For the most part, in the same way, OpTic had the best blend of talent and teamwork to win at Vegas. So then we move forward into Fort Worth, and OpTic loses to GenG in losers round 2. Obviously not what you like to see. They should have won that game, but they really did blow it, and they just overall didn't play well at Fort Worth at all. So then we move forward to London, and they lose in the winners finals to 100 Thieves 3-1. And then they end up getting knocked out in the losers finals 3-0 by EU. So the wheels kind of fell off of that tournament, and they lose to the two best teams. They lose to 100 Thieves and EU pretty handily in both situations, and they're just not able to play up to that level of those teams in either situation. So then we move forward to Anaheim, and they lose to 100 Thieves in winners round 2 3-1, and then they get knocked out in the losers finals by GenG 3-2. It was obviously a really close game, and either team could have won. OpTic had multiple chances to potentially win that game, but they just, GenG ends up clutching up the biggest moments of that S&D game 5. So, and they lose to the two teams who end up in the grand final. There's a little bit of a theme here where they end up losing to the teams who make it to the grand final. So the biggest question is whether or not they're going to be able to get over that hump and beat the best teams in the league when it matters the most. So then after Anaheim, they've now played 4 CWL Pro League matches, and they barely squeaked by against Heretics and Elevate 3-2 in both games. And then they lose 3-0 to Envy, and then they lose 3-1 to Eunited. So they kind of got slapped against two solid teams, and they barely squeaked by against teams that they should definitely beat. Again, not looking very good for OpTic in those situations, and they played really bad in those Envy and EU games. So the biggest question is what happened? Like, what went wrong? And so Crim did tweet a little bit about it. He said, "Team has been mentally checked out after securing first. No comment on the gameplay because we really aren't playing or scrimming at all before these matches. Get home, please." And then he said, obviously it's not acceptable, but those matches actually mean nothing. And then Censor shoots back at him and he says, "You're supposed to be the GOAT. Don't make me replace you for champs, SMH." Classic Censor tweets. And then Ian replies, "You really think I came to Columbus to BS and not improve? Come on, bro. You know me better." So Crim took it a little personally, unnecessarily personally. But, classic Crim and Censor Twitter arguments. But I mean, obviously Crim's right that like it doesn't matter that much, so OpTic might not have been as motivated as possible, but you don't like to see that in a team that has the potential to win every event they play. I mean, obviously they're debatably the most talented team, second most talented team behind 100 Thieves or EU right now, just a toss up in a lot of situations. But they're just not playing well together as a team at this point. And that's basically what Teep then tweeted. So he tweeted, "Plenty I want to say after our performance this week, but not going to. Not happy. Time to get home and reset for Miami. 2 biggest events coming up, and we'll put in all the extra effort that I can for the squad. Thanks for the support." Obviously, Teep is seeing those issues and wants them to get fixed, but it's just not getting fixed as fast as obviously they would want it to. And Crim did admit that he's not been playing well. He's been playing average. Those are his words. Don't pin that on me, but those are his words. He was playing average and not playing well recently, and Crim definitely has a lot to improve on. I would say Scump has room to improve as well. I know you Scump fans you get a little defensive when anyone takes a shot at Scump, but he hasn't been playing the greatest. I mean, Dashy's still Dashy, but overall as a team, they really need to come together. They haven't been baiting and switching as well as they should be. Entering into hills has been a problem for them. And I don't know if it's a role change that they necessarily need. It just might be a lack of practice that might just be the problem. So maybe 10 days of really focusing up and practicing hard could be what they need. So Crim in his stream, at least according to Reddit, I didn't actually see it myself, but according to Reddit, did say that they were going to have a boot camp before Miami. And supposedly those teams are going to be FaZe and Eunited. And this is what the Reddit user said that Crim said. So I didn't actually see the clip myself, but I'm going off of Reddit. Well, I'm going to trust Reddit on this one. And he said the convo was during a late night league play grind. They said apparently the fourth team was supposed to be LG. Apparently OpTic didn't like that LG was very likely going to play them if they win, so they decided not to have them anyway. But overall, I think that's going to help them a lot playing against elite teams, playing against EU and FaZe for like, you know, multiple days in a row or whatever it is for their boot camp. That's going to be huge for both teams and especially for OpTic, considering they've been really struggling against the best teams in the league. So for them to have, you know, 2 of the 3-4 best teams in the league at their LAN is going to be really big for them. That does mean that 100 Thieves won't be able to scrim those 3 teams and whoever the 4th team is during that time. So obviously all those teams have 100 Thieves in their crosshairs. You know, they're trying to take out 100T. So that's obviously why 100T isn't invited to this. But I mean, overall, I wouldn't be shocked if OpTic rebound, but they have a lot to fix. But it makes me hesitant to pick them to win a tournament this big that when we haven't seen them beat the big teams on the biggest stages yet. So in total, OpTic has a ton to work on and get better at as a team, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're able to pull it off and really be great at Miami. I'm leaving next week or next Wednesday for Miami, so I'll be making a Miami preview video later this week at some point, maybe Thursday or Friday. And again, the community tournament entries are open, so go click on the last video if you guys want to enter into the community tournament and play in this one. It's next Sunday at 3:30 Eastern time, so obviously I'm pumped for it. I can't wait to see you guys all there, and I will see you guys all next video. So if you guys enjoyed the video, like, comment, and subscribe. Share the video if you guys really enjoyed it. But as always, guys, I'm your boy SalvationsElite, and we'll see you next time. I'm out.